Welcome to Morning Brew. On Politics Social, I am Graham Hughes. My coffee would get out the way so I can press the button. This has been A on it. Hello, everyone. A big shout out to Martin and Sarah and Diz and Paula and Harushi and Shropshire Chris and Graham Haller and Brett Wall. Hello, Colin Baker is in there. We went to see Back to the Future yesterday at the IMAX. What a great film. What a great movie. Okay, so today is Tuesday, the 4th of November, 2025. You're watching Morning Brew on Politics Social. And today we're going to be talking about Zohran Mamdani, who looks like he might be taking the mayoral race in New York. Shock win of the primaries that they had for the Democrat candidate. He ended up being the Democrat candidate, much to the chagrin of Andrew Cuomo, old Handy Cuomo, Handy Andy. Oh yeah, his name is Andy, isn't it? Handy Andy. So he's running as an independent in second place in the polls. And in third place is the Republican candidate, who isn't doing so well, isn't doing so well. Anyway, so look, Mamdani is on the brink of becoming New York City's first Muslim mayor. Okay, voting has already started in New York because they have postal voting. But the big day is today, and the polls will open in a few hours' time. The Big Apple is 5 hours behind us, so it's 6 o'clock in the morning there, I guess. 6? No, I can't add up. 4 o'clock in the morning. Jesus Christ, Graham, where did you learn to math? Yeah. Anyway, so this is this happens, right? Which it probably will. Let's hope. Fingers crossed. We're going to come to the whole billionaire scandal in a moment, but Mamdani will be New York City's first Muslim mayor. He would also be the most left-wing leader of any major Western city in decades. And this race isn't just about New York City. It's a referendum on Trumpism, billionaire power, and whether bold, progressive politics can win in the bad timeline that we're in, the Trump timeline, the Biff timeline, to make a Back to the Future reference. Whether we can win while living in the squalid belly of global capitalism. And you've got two sides of New York City which are at war at the moment. You've got one side, working class New Yorkers drowning in rent, childcare costs, food insecurity, healthcare costs, and crumbling public services. And on the other hand, on the other side, you've got the billionaire class who are frantically spending millions and millions of dollars to try and stop one man. This is really fascinating, okay? Because there's loads of billionaires in New York and around, some from New Jersey, some from other places, Hampshire, New Caledonia, New Mexico, maybe, I don't know, some other new places. They are spending a lot of money to try and stop Mamdani. And the thing is, if this is a war between two factions, you got the billionaires and everyone else. Here's the thing, and this is what they're so terrified of, and this is why the likes of Zuckerberg are building bunkers in the middle of the Hawaiian Islands, because they know there's way more of us than there is of them. Way, way more of us than there is of them. And what I'll be asking today is Mamdani really Trump's worst nightmare? Or is he just simply reminding Democrats and the Labour Party in this country what political courage actually looks like? I found it very interesting that Elon Musk went on the record to call Mamdani what did he call him, a grifter? Did he call him a grifter? Swindler. He called him a charismatic swindler. It's a bit rich, isn't it? Calling someone else a swindler. Where's the new Tesla? Where's the new Tesla, Elon? Where are your robo-taxis? What happened with your Hyperloop? What happened with that, Elon? Where's that gone? I thought we were going to be in Mars by now, Elon. Elon, hello. What's happened with the moon race? Is that not happening? No. Okay, I thought you put on these satellites up so we could all get internet. Or what? Only one person can get internet at a time, and you can just send text messages and one emoji. Okay, great. Thanks, Elon. You're not a swindler. Honest, gov. And the thing about Elon Musk is there's probably a bit of jealousy in that because Elon Musk isn't charismatic. He's a twitchy, sketchy, little fucking ket-addled, fucking drug-addled weirdo, right? Doesn't make, he doesn't make a connection with his audience. He's just like, and you're like, okay, mate, you've got all the money in the world, but you can't learn a bit of charisma, can you? Can you? Goes out on stage and he's just like, got a fucking auto cue to read off. I do these shows, and yeah, I do and air sometimes, quite a lot of times, because I'm making this up as I go along, right? He's got a fucking auto cue, and he can't even read that. He can't even read an auto cue and make people feel like excited about it. Meanwhile, Mamdani gets on a bike and someone shouts, "Communists!" And he goes, "No, you're pronouncing it wrong. It's cyclist." Like that. Comeback worthy of one of the best stand-up comedians in the world. That is charisma. That is having that affinity with people. Made all the people around him laugh and made the person who shouted "Communist" look like a twat. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. But first of all, before we get into all that, we're going to have a look at who is Zohran Mamdani. His personal story is his political story. His background is he was born in Uganda to Indian parents, moved to US age 7, represents a multicultural New York story, global immigrant roots, local grassroots politics. He will be the first Muslim mayor, as I've said, which would be of New York, which would be a historic barrier-breaking moment, and crucially, it would be quite symbolic as well. But he's also leading on policies. It's not just identity. He's not just standing up and going, "I'm a Muslim, vote for me." He's standing up and saying, "These are my policies," and they're getting a lot of credit off people, ordinary people on the streets who are like, "Yeah, I'd like a rent freeze, thank you very much. I'm fed up with the rent going up 7% each year. I can't afford it." And his identity has undeniably fueled Islamophobic attacks on him from all sides. I mean, this isn't just the billionaires and the Republicans. A lot of Democrats are quite reticent to support him and to be vocal in that support. And he's instead of going after the billionaires, well, there's a couple of billionaires that like him, but instead of going after the billionaires and begging for scraps from their table, he has built grassroots power, real grassroots power. He has over 40,000 donors who've contributed an average of $100 each. This is a campaign powered by working people, something that Labour's supposed to be. You pay money to Labour if you're part of a union and they're affiliated with Labour. It's the party of the working people. Absolutely. And he was arrested in 2023 for protesting for Gaza. And this shows sort of political conviction, and it's part of why the centralist Democrats are terrified, because he genuinely has a moral compass and he doesn't hide the fact. And this is popular. What we've got to get through to Labour and perhaps the Lib Dems as well, and I think the Greens have learnt this lesson through Zach Polanski, is you've got to be bold. Fortune favours the bold. Elections favour the bold. That's a good one. I'm going to write that down. Elections favour the bold. Come up with bold ideas. Come up with big, bold ideas that will change people's lives. You don't even have to have ones that change people's lives for the better, I did in the case of Brexit, or just voting for Farage and his clowns in general. We need the Greens in Australia to be like Polanski, says Harushi. Yeah, I agree. They've got to be bold. They've got to be strident. They've got to say, look, we're going to get your bills down, and this is how we're going to get your bills down. What happened with your dad last night? That was a different... Anyway, so, yeah. Labour in Britain, when was the last time we saw that level of moral courage from the leadership of the Labour Party, from the front bench? We haven't seen it, have we? That they seem to be just cowed at every turn. And this is what Labour are doing so wrong. And I want Mamdani to win, not just because I want good things for the people of New York, but also just to go, look, you can do it. You can be bold. You can be brash. Not arrogant necessarily, but you can say, look at the stuff we've done. You can blow your own trumpet and you don't need to have two ribs taken out like Prince in order to do it. No one else is going to blow your trumpet for you in this country. You think the tabloids are going to get on side all of a sudden and be like, oh, actually, yes, Starmer, he's a good lad, really. Yeah, in your dreams, mate. Do you think the billionaire owners of these social media companies are going to get on side? No, they're not. They're absolutely not. But here's the thing. The rich are terrified of Mamdani, right? They are terrified of him. 26 billionaires and billionaire families have poured over $22 million into stopping him. Bloomberg alone, Michael Bloomberg, gave 8.3 million before giving another 1.5 million on top of that. Then you've got Joe Gebbia, who owns, is co-founder of Airbnb. He's given 3 million. He's also Trump's chief design officer. And then you got Bill Ackman, who is giving 1.75 million, and he's trying to get Silver, who's the Republican candidate, to drop out, because if you put the figures for Silver and for Andrew Cuomo, who's running as independent, together, that it's comparable with the polling that Mamdani is getting. So they're like, if one of them drops out, all the people will go from the Republicans to vote for the the independent Democrat candidate, which doesn't happen. This is the thing. We often do this. We do this on the left all the time, actually. We go, well, if all the people who voted Green and all the people who voted Lib Dem and all the people who voted Labour and all the people who voted Plaid Cymru and all the people who voted the SNP all voted for the one party, they would have won. And like, yeah, but they wouldn't. That would never happen. Like, you might get some, there's no other option. You might get a unity candidate now and again, but in reality, a lot of people are like, I vote for this party. They are my party, because most people aren't paying attention to politics. And there you go. You got Bill Ackman. You got Roland Lauder and his family, who own Lauder, Lauder, whatever they're called, cosmetics, I think. 2.6 million have been given to the anti-Mamdani campaign. Steve Wynn, who's a Trump mega ally, is given $500,000. And James and Catherine Murdoch, that's James Murdoch, the son of Rupert Murdoch, have given $100,000. And the narrative is, we don't like leftists. Whether we're Trump donors or Democratic philanthropists, doesn't matter. We don't like these people on the left coming along with their crazy ideas of helping working people. Ackman claims Mamdani will cause more crime, fewer jobs, lower revenue, which is nonsense, because he's going to create more jobs. He's going to create more wealth amongst people. And when people have more wealth, they're less likely to commit crime. Okay, here's how it goes, right? If you have a job and you have amassed a few £100 from that job, right? You are less likely to commit a crime. Why? Well, because you got a few £100 from that job. And you know that if you're caught for the crime, that money will get taken away from you. If you don't have that money in the first place, if you have nothing to lose, literally no money at all to lose, you don't own a house, you don't own a car, you don't own your own telly, you got it on tick from Radio Rumbles, right? You've got nothing to lose. You're much more likely, statistically, to commit crime. If you cannot afford food for your family, you're more likely to commit crime, because you're more likely to steal food for your family. If you haven't got a telly, you're more likely to rob a telly. But if you've got a telly that you bought out your money that you worked for, that is an incentive. And I'm not saying this happens all the time, but that is an incentive not to commit crime, because you might lose your telly that you've actually worked for. And, Trump calls Mamdani 100% communist lunatic. That's what he said. And Cuomo wants that he's the most divisive candidate he's ever seen, which is odd because he's getting amazing polling results. Divisive maybe amongst the rich, because they don't like what he stands for. He stands for normal people like you and I, only in New York. And Mamdani's policies aren't symbolic. They will shrink public billionaire power and they will expand public good. That's the nightmare. That's the nightmare for the billionaires. They understand power better than anyone. And Mamdani threatens theirs by using the numbers against them. There are very few billionaires and they might control the media. They might control the means of communication. But there's millions of us. There's only a handful of them. Why are we still dancing to their tune? Why are we still jumping over the top of the trenches and running across no man's land towards the machine guns? Why? Why are we still doing it? Because the rich are telling us to. Because the aristocrats are telling us to. The aristocracy. All of whom fucking robbed their wealth. All of them got their wealth through misdeeds. Got half of the land owned in this country is owned by either the descendants of William the Conqueror or the mates, the descendants of the mates of William the Conqueror. 50%, my friends. 50%. And then the rest of it, pretty much owned by slave-owning families from the 1700s, the 1800s. Slave-owning families, right? And then you had the colonial families that went out, stole, raped, murdered, and looted the treasures from around the world, from Nigeria to China and everywhere in between. Looted the gold from Ballarat in Australia. Looted it from the Aboriginals who actually fucking lived there, who gave the name of the place Ballarat. But when Whitey turned up, we said, oh no, this is terrace nullius. There's no one lives here. And the Aboriginals said, oh, we live here. Like, oh no, you don't count because you're not using the land for anything. And the Aboriginals are like, I think we are. We have a lot of land management. It's just that we've got a lot of land, so we do it differently. So you dickheads, we do it differently. We do it. Anyway, so when the billionaires are agreeing with each other, this is what worries me, and this is why I thought that Trump would win last year or might win last year. I didn't say it was going to be definite, but my take on it was that the fact is that Trump is backed by all these billionaires and Mamdani isn't. But there are two that are backing him. So there's Elizabeth Simmons, who's given $250,000, which, nothing on what Michael Bloomberg has given to try and not get Mamdani elected. But yeah, Elizabeth Simmons, she's the daughter of the hedge fund legend John Simmons, long record of philanthropy and progressive funding, climate rights, education, democracy, has donated tens of millions to progressive causes historically. Then you've got Tom Preston Werner, who's given $20,000. Again, nothing compared with the millions that Bloomberg has given me. He's a GitHub founder. So if you ever use GitHub for your coding, he's the founder of that. Silicon Valley VC type, low dollar, supported but symbolically important, and proof that the tech industry, the tech bros, isn't a monolithic setup. Do you remember, because I'm old enough to remember, I'm so old, 25 years ago when you had the likes of Google, which at the time was still a startup, my friends. Google only was founded in 1998. Yeah. So I started university before Google existed. When I started university, you couldn't Google anything because Google didn't exist. Yeah, I know. This isn't. So yeah, Jane Fonda's also given $1,000, which is nice. Cynthia Nixon has given $5,000. Small sums, but big symbolic weight on progressive credibility. This isn't class war versus wealth. This is democracy versus hoarded power, like the Smaug-esque power of these money hoarders, these billionaires. And even a few wealthy individuals kind of recognize that. So let's talk about his core policies, right? We've got rent freeze. This is the big one, right? Really, this is amazing. So this can be done on day one. So tomorrow. If he gets elected tonight, tomorrow he can do this by appointing a new rent guidelines board. Former Mayor de Blasio froze rent for 3 years. Real estate firms saw an 8% net income growth last year, so a freeze is going to be hardly economic devastation for them. And this will affect 2 million rent-regulated residents in the city, where over half of renters are rent-burdened. New York City did rent control for decades. Billionaires called it socialism. The rest of us just called it, fairness, normal governance, not allowing rich people to just gouge money out of the poor, not allowing basically gangsters to steal money from the most needy in society. And the second big policy that he's got is public grocery stores. So this is fantastic. This is to address food deserts in New York via city-run markets. This has already been done, right? This is not a brand new idea. It's already been done in Madison, Wisconsin, in St. Paul, in Kansas, and it's planned in Chicago and Atlanta. These aren't necessarily Democrat or communist cities, And a modest start, 12 locations, but he's going to use his existing activist network, right? Which I really love, because this is the thing, right? You're an activist for a political party, right? And I've delivered leaflets for Labour, for Lib Dems, for the Greens and Plaid Cymru in my time. And I've also stood as an independent, so for myself as well. So I've knocked on doors for lots of different left-wing parties. I am a slut when it comes to politics, as long as someone is not the people that I do not want to get into power. So if it's everyone versus the Tories or everyone versus refuck, then I'm there. Whatever your political stripes, I will be there for you, because I cannot live in a country that is ruled by Nigel Farage, and I don't want anyone else to have to live in that country either. So yeah, public grocery stores. This is not utopian. This is like catching up with the Midwest of America. And then the third thing is universal childcare. NYC is, sorry, I was talking about being an activist, right? So you have your election and you go home and you just sit there. So what Mamdani's doing is saying, hey, listen, if you're an activist for me to get me elected, once I am elected, could you help out a bit more with setting up these city-run markets? Which is a fantastic thing to do. Like, people want to volunteer. People want to help. People want to give their time. They genuinely do. They don't want to have the piss taken out of them, like some people who expect people to work for free. But, others, that would be a nice thing to do after you've been out delivering leaflets and knocking on doors for someone, and then the next day, you get to do something else. You don't just sit there for the next 5 years waiting for the next time you get to go and help out. People like to help. They just do. And if they've got the time and they've got the inclination, fucking let them do it. Give people stuff to do, because it makes you feel good. Honestly, like, doing these shows makes me feel good. Helping out in general, just helping anyone makes me feel good. I'm human. That's what humans do. That's what we're like. We're like, oh, can I help? Can I help? So that's good. Anyway, so then we've got universal childcare. So New York City already expanded childcare vouchers, but there's going to be a pilot for free childcare, a pilot already exists in high need areas. Universal childcare prevents middle class flight. It builds long-term demographic stability, which is sorely needed in New York and other places where there is a drain. People are leaving. They're having kids. They can't afford to stay in New York, and they're leaving. They're living somewhere where they can afford it. And the Conservatives are calling this radical, but in Europe, this is normal. This is normal for most places. Unfortunately, in the UK, in the last sort of 20 years, we've made childcare exorbitantly expensive, and it means that people are put off from having kids. So these billionaire price gouging Smaug motherfuckers, they put up the prices of everyday life for rent and childcare and commodities, food, everything. And then they whinge that people aren't having kids. They go, oh, why aren't you having kids? Go on, have a kid. And you're like, you can't afford it. Can't afford to have a kid. What are you talking about? So yeah, and then there's free buses, which is fantastic. 2023, there was a pilot, one free route per borough. This led to a 30% rise in ridership. Assaults on staff were down 30%. Models show a 23% ridership increase, a 12% reduced travel time. MTA loses $600 million in fares, but gains a $1.3 billion bonus multiplier, because this is the thing about public transport. You invest in public transport, you get more money. That's it. You get more money. You get more money for your area, for your town, for your city. Okay? This up for your borough. This always happens everywhere it's been tried, everywhere in the world, because you can't have social mobility without physical mobility. You just can't. You need them to go hand in hand, and that physical mobility must be for everyone. It must be able to help everyone get around, move around their own environment, so they can go to the shops, they can go to a job, they can go, get out the house and go somewhere. Otherwise, you have an entire generation of people who are basically living under house arrest for a crime they did not commit, which is disgraceful. Oh, David Coombs has joined us. Welcome, David. Welcome to Lone Star. I will add your name to the credits at the end when I update it. So welcome. Hope you have fun here on the channel, David. And Alistair, nothing serious. Laser hair removal. Ooh, painful, says L. Found some old CDs, been listening to GM Fash and the Furious 5. I think it's Grandmaster Flash, not GM Fash. I think GM Fash is probably what Mike Graham calls himself when he's down on the decks. My God, life was bleak in 80s New York. Yeah, it was a bit. Anyway, so where was I? I was talking about free buses, reducing crime, boosting mobility, growing the economy. What's the objection? The billionaire class hate it when public services work, which is bizarre because in London, where they have one of the greatest, the best, the most efficient, and one of the cheapest transport networks in the world, in the known universe, the productivity is through the roof compared with other places like, I don't know, Newcastle, where there's a shit fucking metro, or Liverpool, where there's a shit fucking metro. I mean, the fact that you've got people going to the Echo Arena to go and watch a gig, and they come into Lime Street Station, and then it's like a 15-minute walk when there's a train station literally on the road opposite the King's Dock in Liverpool. So I don't know if you know Liverpool's geography, but you've got the city centre, then you've got a big fucking motorway called Wapping, because, the 60s happened and they decided we needed a big fucking motorway in the middle of our city. And then on the other side of the motorway, you have the King's Dock, you have the Albert Dock, famous Albert Dock, you have the Liver buildings, and going the other way, you have the Echo Arena, right? And there's a train station just opposite. You got to cross the motorway, but the once you're over there and you haven't died, which is bonus. There is a train station. It was a good station. There's a tunnel that runs from there all the way to Edge Hill Station. So it would be really easy to bring that back online and have a station literally opposite where you're going to have the Labour Party conference, or where Sabrina Carpenter's going to sing, or whatever it is. And they just pulled up the tracks and did away with it in the 60s because they went, we don't need this in the future. People won't need trains. God, it annoys me. Maybe I'll do a special. I think I'll do a special about Liverpool's lost railways. There's more closed railway stations in Liverpool than there are opened ones. Isn't that mad? Isn't that fucking mad? Anyway, Ms. Paula Thomas, £5 super chat. Thank you very much for that. Let's be clear who Cuomo is. When governor of New York, despite having a Dem majority in the legislature, he formed a group of right-wing Dems to rule with the GOP. Yeah, he's a fucking scumbag, and he's a sex offender. He's a sex pest. He is a sex pest. Maybe not an offender, but he's definitely a pest. He is definitely a pest. He's a Budapest. Listen, I'm just coming up to past here, so I'm going to see if we can get some confetti for today, because I'm going to need this, right? I'm going to do Geoscope tonight with Ollie at 7:30 as normal. And I had a bit of a mad day yesterday. Yesterday, my day started at 4 a.m. 4 a.m. my day started yesterday. And it didn't end. I was running around. I had to do all the chores, had to do all the pickups, had to look after one of the kids was ill. Just everything that could go wrong did go wrong yesterday. And I still managed to put out 2 shows and make dinner and clean up after dinner and make breakfast for tomorrow and make pack lunches and do everything else. Right. So I'm going to be doing a show tonight, waiting for the results to come in from New York. Okay, so I might be up all night doing a live stream. So if you want to, support this channel a little bit before we get into that, and help me buy some, I don't know, coffee to keep me up all night. Feel free to drop in some super chats. We've got a target of 10. But they're any colour, so you can drop 50p in and it should register. We had a problem last night when we were doing stateside, me and Scott, that the super chats weren't registering. I don't know what that was about. I might have fucked it up and put it that it was not all the colours. But when I went back to it to add like one more on, so you would definitely get the confetti. If you don't know what I'm talking about, when we get to the target in the chat for the super chats, you get confetti coming down on not here, but on the other screen, on the screen that you get. In fact, I don't know why I don't get confetti here. Do you know what I could do? This might be fun. Let me just check this, right? Because I have a feeling that tonight's going to be I have a feeling that what I can do is go to my this might fuck things up for everybody. But I reckon this is going to make the chats go white. So I don't know if this is going to work. It might make because the letters are set to white, and I don't know. This might fuck things up. But let's see. I can swap it back if necessary. But let's see what happens if I do that. Does that turn to white? Okay. What does everyone think? I think it's easier to read inverted the way it normally is for me, right? Which is black there, right? I think that's easier to read. But do you think that's easier to read with a white black background? What do you think? What do you think? Anyway, what I'm going to say is this is confetti. Yeah, confetti. Hopefully, now that it's set to this, right? So this isn't the studio version. This is the YouTube version that I've just got from the main video that we're doing, right? Hopefully, we'll see the confetti appear on here, and we might get that as part of the animation. So we'll see. Testing super chat register, says Martin. Yes, it's got up. It's now 1 out of 10. So thank you very much, Martin. It is registering it for £2. There you go. G2E Media has a channel. He's done some old railway exploration around Liverpool. Oh, that sounds really good, Martin. I might check that out. I'm a bit obsessed with the old system over there. Okay, so let's have a look. I watch YouTube via my Fire Stick. I never see the confetti. Oh no, you don't get to see the confetti. Oh, well, maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll see it, and I'll see it because I don't normally see it because it's normally the black version and they get the white version. Okay, so where were we? We were talking about Mamdani, weren't we? Bloody hell, I do rabbit on, don't I? Where were we? We were talking about his policies, weren't we? So we've got universal childcare, public grocery stores, rent freeze, free buses, and then the final one of the 5 is 200,000 new affordable homes. This is the same output as Mayor de Blasio, but with proper targeting to the lowest income groups, focused on union-built, permanently affordable, rent-regulated units, recognised as a long-term structural programme, not a single-term miracle. Housing hasn't been solved in years, and it won't be solved in 4 years, but someone has to make the start on this. Right, let's talk about why Mamdani terrifies Trump, because he's a direct contrast and an ideological threat. Trump relies on billionaire networks. That's his bread and butter, isn't it? Mamdani defeats those networks. I mean, if he wins, he will have defeated the biggest network, the billionaire network on the planet. There's more billionaires in America than anywhere else in the world. Then Trump is campaigning on policing crackdowns, whereas Mamdani has criticised policing and got arrested himself for protesting for Gaza. Trump sells the culture war. Mamdani sells affordability, dignity, material change. And Trump demonises Muslims, whereas Mamdani would stand as Muslim mayor of America's biggest city. Trump wants obedient Democrats, and Mamdani forces them to find their balls, find a fucking spine. If Mamdani wins, it proves people want left-wing solutions and not, to real-world sufferings. Not this vibes-based authoritarianism of the Trump and fucking Nigel Farage era. It's a nightmare for Trump. And, New York's been here before. Progressive municipalism. Is that even a word? I don't know. It's not new, right? It's the heritage of New York. They have had radical policies there in the past. What we would think of as radical now. Think about what they were like in 1911 when they opened the public library as the People's Palace, a free, monumental, democratic building that was built, in the style of classical Rome, for Christ's sake. Spent the equivalent of what would be billions, I guess, now on building it, and they gave it to the people. In the 1847 to the 1970s, there was the Free City College, which was called the Harvard of the Proletariat. We had the New Deal era when there was a huge public housing build, community investment, union power. The unions used to have a big say in what happened in New York. That's, they got greedy and corrupt and gangstery, and that wasn't good. But, socialism in the city isn't theoretical. In 1990s, the community garden movement defended public land from developers. They defied Giuliani when he was the mayor of New York. And socialism in the city is not theoretical. It's produced housing, education, public spaces, libraries. It's in the bones of the city itself. I'm not even mentioning the public transport in New York, which is better. I mean, it's not brilliant, but it's better than the public transport in most other big American cities, not least LA, where they've only got like one underground line. Like LA underground is like shite. It makes the underground in Newcastle look good. And this isn't Mamdani reinventing New York. This is stuff that's built into New York's DNA. It just simply is. And you've got this sort of turn backwards to the 1970s, in the 1970s to austerity and the neoliberal shock therapy of the 1980s gutted those gains. Public services weakened, the inequality soared, crime soared, life expectancy stalled. Even for the privileged, the place turned into a shithole. Like in the 80s and 90s, New York was really on the fucking downers, and it's because of the rich. It's because the rich, the greed, the fact that people weren't working together as communities anymore. And the right fight socialism while screaming inside the voters who remember, the city worked before the rich took over. It was the rich that fucked everything up. And we can say that for every country in the world. We can say that definitely for this country. It was the rich that fucked it up. It was the rich that told you to vote for Brexit. More than any other demographic, it was the rich. Nearly every single person who told you to vote for Brexit in the public eye, someone on a stage, someone who could, get people to listen, was privately educated. Every single fucking one of them. That's no coincidence. That's the rich telling the rest of us what to do. And lots of people who aren't rich go, yeah, all right, I'll just do what I'm told. Thinking makes my head hurt. Yuri, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Always socialism for the rich and rugged individualism for everyone else. Yep, Yuri, couldn't agree more. Make sure you include the Liverpool Overhead Railway, a.k.a. the Dockers Umbrella, says Put With Paul Thomas. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think they should recreate a section of that. Not the whole thing from Dingle to Seathorpe. We don't need to do that. But I reckon, right, it'd be nice. Get rid of that stupid fucking motorway. Get rid of Wapping. Right? I hate it. Right? And have the overhead railway, and it should go, right, is my idea, it should go from the Albert Dock, right, or maybe the Liver Building, maybe go from the Liver Building, let's say the Liver Building, right, because that's not gonna fuck things up for too many people. If it's, when you're getting a photo of the Liver Building, you don't want a big overhead railway in the way of the Liver Building. So let's just say it starts after, going north, starts after the Liver Building, so where the secret exit to the Mersey Tunnel comes out, the old Mersey Tunnel. We could have it from there, right, to Everton's new ground. How about that? And that'd be really fucking cool. You have it like a tourist thing. People go up and, go on the overhead railway. Ooh, this is fun. But yeah, the overhead railway was not nationalised when all the other trains were nationalised after the war. All the other train companies, well, most of them, some of them weren't. And one of them that wasn't was the Liverpool Overhead Railway. And in the 1950s, they realized that they had used metal to make the thing and wood. And, metal and wood only last so long. It needed millions of pounds spent on it to fix it all up. And they should have kept it painted. They should have painted it more. I don't know. Maybe they ran out of paint during the war. And they said it's going to be too expensive. And so they dismantled it. True story. Sad but true. My dad used to talk about the overhead rail in Liverpool. I've seen a carriage in the Liverpool Museum. The problem socialism has is that it is principled and therefore will not lie and use right-wing talking points. However, right-wingers have no problem trying to lying to the people and using socialist policies. Says Captain Coconut. Yeah, but we don't need to lie. This is the thing, Captain Coconut. We do not need to lie. We can tell the absolute truth. Here's the truth, right? Climate change is real, right? That's a true thing, right? We don't need to lie about that. But also, the things that we need to do to alleviate climate change will actually save us money. Not just save our lives and the lives of our children and grandchildren, but it saves us money. Can you believe that? It can save us money. Like, it will halve our energy bills. Because at the moment, our energy bills are set on gas, and gas is the most expensive commodity that we use to generate power in this country. If we can if we can pull ourselves off, oh hang on, that's wrong. If we can pull ourselves away from gas, right, then our bills are gonna go down. Like with Aid's dad last night. Oh God, I was just doing these shit jokes. I'm sorry. It's too early in the morning for shit jokes, Graham. Anyway, but yeah, Labour need to take note. Labour's biggest problem is they look like fucking rabbits in fucking headlights all the time. Starmer is king rabbit in headlights. He's like this all the fucking time. You see him getting interviewed. He's like this. It's like he really needs a shit and he's just holding it all in. He really needs to piss. He's holding it all in. So what's going to happen with this, renters' rights bill that's coming in? I think that it will be in people's interest to have a better deal when it comes to rent. And you're like, wow, fucking hell, you're drawing me in with your charisma there, Kia. Poof. Be still my beating heart. Wow. You made me want to stand up on my cinema seat and just punch the air. Like that bit in Independence Day where he says, today we celebrate our Independence Day. Or the bit in Avengers Endgame where he says, on your left. And they all tear up and you stand up on your cinema seat and you go, yes! Maybe that was just me. Anyway, the point being... Fucking rabbit in headlights. They're terrified of headlines, of donors, of the fucking Daily Mail, of the city, of its own fucking shadow. What's that? Oh, it's my shadow. That's Labour right now. And Mamdani shows you've got to be bold. Zach Polanski is showing that you've got to be bold. This isn't vibes or competence. He's talking about rent freezes, buses, childcare, food, homes, things that people give a shit about. And saying, this is what I'm going to do. Material change, tangible benefits, deliverables, but also he's telling people he's fucking doing it. Whereas Labour's like, well, the results will speak for themselves. They won't. You fucking dickheads. They won't fucking speak for themselves because they never have in the history of the universe, okay? It's something that has never happened. Why are you betting the farm on something that has never, ever happened once in the history of humanity? People will just feel the benefit. They'll just feel it. We don't need to tell them. We don't need to, big up ourselves or anything. No, we don't have to blow our own trumpet. Someone else will come and blow it for us. I'm sure it'll be fine. And here's the thing, right? Mamdani got 90,000 volunteers. 90,000 volunteers. Not focus groups, not bland fucking slogans. 90,000 volunteers. One thing that drove me up the fucking wall about the last Labour government, the last Labour leader, right, was that we had more than 90,000, more than 100,000, more than 200,000, more than 500,000 500,000 people who were willing to get off their arse and go to London and protest against the Tories' flagship policy. And they didn't want anything to do with us. Those words in that meeting that I had in Manchester when I was setting up a march against the Tories' flagship policy during the Tory party conference in 2019. And they say to me, we do not want to see one single EU flag at our march that was going ahead, ahead of us. And they were upset that we were going to walk down the streets an hour and a half before they did. And I went, why? And he goes, well, what if you sit in the street and don't let us? I'm like, are you fucking crazy? The people coming to our march, they're all fucking 97 years old. It's little old grannies. Do you know what I mean? Like, what do you think? Is this the anarchist march? Is this the fucking EDF? What march do you think this is? This is a pro-EU march, marching against the fucking Tory party's fucking flagship fucking policy. And you're like, well, we don't want people getting these two marches mixed up because we don't want anything to do with you. Do you know what? Labour could have had that. Labour could have had 500,000 volunteers in 2019. 500,000 volunteers around the country, giving out leaflets, talking to people on the street, giving up their time, setting up stalls, talking to their neighbours, energised activists. 500,000 activists saying, please, we want to help the Tories not win. Not to help the Tories. We want to help you defeat the Tories. And they said, no. Not interested. Because of the former leader. Will I ever forgive him? Will I fuck? Rich fucking privately educated fucking arsehole. Anyway, moving on. Labour, you need to take notes. They need to take notes, right? This is organised people with organised fucking money. Organised people, beating organised money, I should say. And winning is fucking inspiring, When was the last time Labour made you feel like anything other than resignation? You know what I mean? Like anything but like, oh, okay. Well, what have they done that? Oh, don't do that. Oh, mate. They're like a dog. They're like a new dog bouncing around. You're like, yeah, I've got a new dog. Oh, great. Oh, no, he's just shat on the carpet. Oh, well, that's a bit unfortunate, isn't it? Oh, okay. Well, I'll have to clean that up. All right, okay, clean that. Oh, no, he's shat on the carpet again. Oh, fucking hell. Oh, but I do like having this dog because I used to have this fucking Bengal tiger and that used to fucking eat my insides every time I went to sleep. So, this is a step up on what I had, but still, I wish it would stop shitting all over the carpet. It's Labour right now. Dog that shits on the carpet. And, the Labour needs to stop copying the right. They need to start copying Zach. They need to start copying Mamdani. This is and AOC and Bernie Sanders. They need to stop trying to you don't beat Trump by becoming more like Trump. You need to beat Trump. You don't beat Farage by becoming more like Farage's policies, right? But when it comes to the sheer amount of energy and enthusiasm that Trump and Farage generate amongst their supporters, yeah, there is something to emulate there. There is something. I'm not going to go on about Labour comms again because I'm so bored of talking about it and it gets so repetitive, but come on. If Labour tried Mamdani's courage for 5 fucking minutes, 5 fucking minutes, it could change everything. For 5 minutes, just say, we're sick of the billionaires. We're sick of the Daily fucking Mail. They can fuck off. And you know what? The sort of the establishment freak out about Mamdani. And don't forget, like I said, this isn't just this isn't just Republicans. This isn't just the Trump MAGA lot, make Americans grovel again. It's not them. It's not them who are like, well, it is them, but it's not just them. It's also Democrats. It's centralists. We use this as a pejorative, as an insult. I never thought of myself anything other than a bit of a centralist. I never thought that it was a bad thing. And now I'm thinking, fucking hell, if this is what, I'm not lying down and just letting these bastards roll all over us. Do you know what I mean? That's not me. If that's what being a centralist is, I don't want to be a fucking centralist. Don't call me that, because I'm not. But not all my political ideals are particularly left wing. I've got to say, if I had my way, what I would do to the rich people in this country is probably not very left wing at all. I mean, they might enjoy it. I don't know, but I wouldn't be very nice to them. I'm just saying, don't put me in charge. No, seriously, don't put me in charge. Anyway, so yeah, the panic of the establishment and also the media over there. You've seen the newspapers in New York just going fucking crazy, going, oh, he's a terrorist, he's part of 9/11, he's plotting against America, he's going to force in Sharia law, which is something that knobheads love to say. Oh, there's going to be Sharia law, and you're like, oh, okay, what does that do then? Well, it means that I won't get to eat bacon sandwiches anymore. I'm pretty sure that there's going to be no supremacy of Sharia law, which is the rules that are partaken in by the people who partake in the religion of Islam. In that kosher are rules about dietary requirements, etc., that are taken by people who follow the Judaic religion, like Judaism. Like what? In the same way that you could say, oh, the Ten Commandments. The Ten Commandments. Oh, these Christians are going to get in. They're going to make us live by the Ten Commandments. Are they? Are they? Don't cheat on your wife. That's a commandment, isn't it? All right, mate. So anyway, Cuomo, the disgraced, scandal-ridden, suddenly reborn as this anti-left fucking crusader. You've got Chuck Schumer, who's a gobshite. He's the Senate leader, the minority leader for the Democrats. He's so fucking useless. This is the gobshite that when, Trump sent fucking soldiers in to an American city to fucking kill Americans, he wrote him a strongly worded letter. Oh, that fucking showed him, didn't it, Chuck, you useless twat? Get out the way, Chuck, you old fuck. You're too old. You're too stupid. You're too stupid to have the job that you've got. You're too weak. You're too lily-livered. Will you fuck off, Chuck? Anyway, Chuck won't endorse him. It's probably a good thing, actually. Actually, you think about like the Democrats who won't endorse won't endorse Mamdani. Yeah, cool. He should have it on a poster. I am not endorsed by Chuck Schumer because he's fucking useless. It's about as much use as fucking KFC on the moon, as a cock-flavoured lollipop. He's fucking useless. And Chuck Schumer, he's not a radical lefty, but it's centralist mafia. Can we call him that? I'm gonna disassociate myself with the centre ground. Fuck him. If this is what the centre ground is, I don't want any part of it. Of lying down and taking it. No, that's not me, mate. That's not me. I'm far too energetic. And Trump calling on Democrats to vote for Cuomo, and that is just mad, isn't it? Trump telling people to vote for a Democrat, even though he's not really a Democrat anymore, he's running as an independent. And billionaires uniting, liberal and conservative billionaires against a candidate talking about, I don't know, rent control and buses. Two things that billionaires don't give a fuck about because that's not their business. If their business was solely, selling shitty flats to people in the lower east Manhattan. Like, I don't think they'll be billionaires. They might be rich, but I don't think they'll be billionaires. The political class fears Mamdani not because he can't govern, because if he does govern well, they're in real trouble. The establishment is in real trouble, and good public services exposes the scam, the absolute scam that we're living in. And is he perfect? Absolutely not. No. By the way, the goal ends in 5 minutes, so if someone wants to drop in a few little tiny super chats to get the confetti to see if it works, that would be awesome. So yeah, let's have a little bit of an honest assessment. I don't want to sort of beatify this fella, there's going to be a state legislature bottleneck, raising top taxes by 2% plus corporate tax to New Jersey levels, which is what Mamdani wants to do, which is raising corporate tax to 11.5%, which is still a lot less than we have to pay, will require state approval, and Albany, the capital, could stop him. Yes, New York is not the capital in New York, it's Albany. There's also the implementation challenge, ambitious housing, obviously, and bus expansion plans. Need bureaucratic muscles and hostile bureaucrats could slow walk him. And then you've got police power. The NYPD remains politicized. It is a political faction. He's pledged to keep the current commissioner, a woman called Jessica Tisch, but that could still lead to potential internal conflict. And you've got Democratic establishment sabotage that he's going to have to worry about if he wins. This is not paranoia. We just watch them fund Cuomo. And then you've got the right-wing backlash machine. You can expect Fox and Trump and Silver, who's the Republican candidate, calling him radical, infada, global jihadist, communist lunatic and stuff like this. And these flaws are not fatal, but they are real challenges ahead that he's going to face if he wins. So, is he Trump's worst nightmare? Maybe. I'm sorry not to be equivocal on this, but I think Trump is absolute fucking Teflon, and he will remain in power till the day he dies. I genuinely do. Goal! Confetti has no N. Yes, I know. Because I've conflated confetti, which is what he wrote, with confetti, because that sounds more like confetti. So I did that on purpose, Veg. I did that. I did it because I thought it was funny to put the two words together because they were quite similar. So I did. Trying to be funny. Okay. Anyway. So anyway, is he Trump's worst nightmare? Well, yeah. First Muslim mayor of New York City. Destroys Trump's narrative of who belongs in America. Socialist winning the biggest city in America. Breaks the America will never elect leftist myth. Billionaires versus the $98 average donation. This is class politics in plain sight. We've also got the whole free buses, universal childcare, rent freeze, policies that materially improve people's lives and prove socialism works, while Trump is currently taking away people's medical benefits and taking away the right to medicine, the right to be seen in a hospital because they can't afford the premiums anymore because he's jacking them up. The Affordable Care Act, the Obamacare amount that people have to pay is going to double, and it's going to double under Trump, and Trump has made that happen because he hates people who aren't him. But yeah, to proving that, actually having things that are tangible that you could show to, look, I've done this, it really does make a big difference. And then you've got, the sort of fact that Mamdani has been arrested for, standing up for Gaza. It shows that, he's got moral clarity there. What's Trump been arrested for? For fucking diddling people out of fucking money, for robbing documents from the White House and selling them to the highest bidder. Always on a grift, always on a fucking Del Boy Trotter fucking style grift. It's like evil Del Boy Trotter, isn't he? Ms. Paula Thomas, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. Except Trump is a typical 1950s Tammany Hall dem. Yeah, actually, he is. He is a Southern Democrat, isn't he? It's one of them. Like Foghorn Leghorn. I say. Confetti and coffee, Graham. Ooh, yeah, that's a good one. Maybe I could put an extra E on confetti. Covfefe. And make it confetti. So it's it's coffee and confetti, and also we've only got 30 seconds. I don't think we're going to do it. People. I'm sorry. We need 4 more super chats in 20 seconds. I don't think it's going to happen. Thank you very much to Alex Morgan and Paula Thomas for your support. What I'll do is, we've got another one. We want confetti, says Alex. Oh, it's going to come in under the radar. We've got 12 seconds left. 12 seconds to get 2 more super chats in. I can see the total, just a countdown. Oh no, we've got one more to get in the next second, in the next 4, 3, 2, One. Oh, we didn't do it. Oh, mate. Oh, It's okay. It's okay. Right. I'm going to quickly. We got 9 out of 10. We got 9 out of 10. Let me just do one, and it'll just be one super chat, any colour. Right. There we go. Start the goal. Start the goal. Start it. Right. One more super chat, and we should get confetti. Okay. So if someone wants to jump. Okay. Alex Morgan. That didn't work. Confetti. It says it didn't bloody work. Maybe I should just make my own little confetti. I'm gonna have to do it, aren't I? I'm gonna have to make a confetti animation for when we get it, because we can't rely on it here, can we? So I can do it. I can activate it when we do get the 10 super chats in, which we did. Alex Morgan, thank you very much. We want confetti. New microwave, yay Diz, says Liz Allen. I can't see the total, just countdown, says Martin Harrow. Thank you very much. And Alex Morgan again. Confetti. Oh, no. Thank you, everyone, for the super chats. We didn't get the confetti, but we will. Oh, goal. Okay, so that's it. Does that trigger the confetti? Why could we not see the confetti? Oh, mate. Oh, well, I hope it came up on yours. We did do it. But Viper Scott says goal. It didn't come up here. I'm going to have to make my own animation. Sorry. I thought that because this is taking the data from... But obviously, whatever little fucking subroutine, whatever, it's not translating onto my screen here. Did everyone else see confetti? Let me know in the chat if you saw some confetti. The stream is rip. The stream is rip. It's rip. Rip for the taking. Well, seeing that's the case, I actually find it harder to read the white version here with the white background. So I'm gonna put it back onto the original. Just 1 second. I'm sorry you didn't get to see the confetti. It was a good little experiment. Thank you. Thanks for the money. I saw it, says Band of Hard Japs. It happened in chat. Oh, cool. My stress levels have significantly reduced after confetti. Oh, brilliant. Confetti, says Veg Pie. That's it. Confetti. So it's confetti, coffee, and Trump being fucking weird and putting out tweets that are just bizarre. Anyway, so what was I talking about? Look, what Mamdani does at the end of the day is he signals to the world that progressive urban governance can beat billionaire fear campaigns. And Trump doesn't fear liberal centrists. He fucking loves them. Because he knows they'll bend over. They'll be so fucking timid. And now is not the time for timid politics on the left. We need bold politics, which is Zach Palensky's podcast, by the way. But we need that. We need that right now. And I hope that Labour take a leaf out of Zach Palensky's book. I really, really, really do. I really do. Oh, wow. I need some confetti. Anyway, so yeah. If he wins, there'll be shockwaves through the Democrat Party. But I mean, to be honest with you, they should know he's probably going to win. And if Mamdani governs successfully, every other left-wing leaning city in America, which is nearly all of them, will ask, like, why can't we? You can expect billionaire tantrums, media hysterics, absolute hysterics, like what you see in this country over Sadiq Khan, and then coordinated bureaucratic sabotage, which would be interesting. There's also going to be Trump is going to try and do everything in his power to fuck things over for Mamdani. He's already said he's going to do that because he's a scumbag. Amy sings "Back to Black," says Andrew Ray. She does. Thank you for the super chat. Old Amy Winehouse there. And then we've got the fact that Trump really does fear movements that deliver, that take away, because one of the big things that Trump can say is, look, I've done stuff. The timidity of the left is destroying the left because we're not being bold enough. We're not saying this is what we need to do. And we're obsessing over shit that matters a lot to us. And I completely get that. But here's the thing, right? I've knocked on people's doors here in Durham. I've knocked on doors in Liverpool. I've knocked on doors in Wales, in Scotland, and all over the country, right? In the past, right? I have never had someone open the door and say, "Mate, we need to change the voting system urgently. It's the one thing that needs to happen. The voting system needs to change." That has never, ever, ever happened to me, because most people don't give a fuck about politics. People have complained about the EU. They complain about people coming over on boats. They complain about single mothers. They complain about seeing too many black faces on TV, maybe. But when it comes to stuff that people actually really do give a fuck about, it's always the same. It's their health. It's their job. It's their children's future. It's the potholes in the fucking road. It's the stuff that they can see. It's the fact there's no bus to take them anywhere out of their village on Sundays. So on Sundays, they're trapped in their home. There's nowhere to go. The local pub is closed down. The nearest pub is 5 miles away, and there is no bus to get there. And they've got a bad leg, a dodgy knee. They need a hip replacement. Like, these are the problems that people have in real life. And I'm sorry, the people on the left don't seem to realize this. And they go, my little thing, the thing that I care about is the most important thing in the world. And I understand that feeling. But the reality is that for the vast majority of people, going back into the EU, stopping Israel being horrible to Gaza, getting voter reform, bringing in UBI, doing all these wonderful things that I would like to see happen, it's not a priority for them. They want to see stuff getting done. That's what they want to see. And Trump, he gets shit done. And I literally mean shit in this expression, because he does shit. The stuff he does is fucking awful. He enriches himself and his friends. He bulldozes off the White House to build a gaudy fucking fucking ballroom. He is a fucking terror. He's a horror, but he's getting stuff done. The left go, "Oh my God, you're sending people to this secret prison in El Salvador." What does he do? He sends Kristi Noem over there with a camera crew and to go, "Hey, look, I'm in this super prison. Look at these knobheads over here. It's awful. It's dreadful. But he's got something done, hasn't he? Hasn't he? He's brought in these tariffs. Yep, he's got something done. And then he's gone around the world begging to fucking stop the tariff, begging for scraps. Please, I'll bring your tariff down. All right, matey, you go, have this. Oh, okay, thank you, I'll bring your tariff down now. Pathetic little dog that he is. But he's doing stuff. What the left need to do is not just the governance of everyday life. I wish it was. That was the mindset, the 1990s, the end of history. Politicians were just governors of everyday life. Unfortunately, the billionaires, social media, the media, the old school media, it's fuck that. It is fuck that model, right? You need to be something more now. You need to get shit done, and on the left, that shit needs to be good. If Labour just went all in right now, and borrowed $100 billion off the fucking IMF and spent it all on radically, quickly changing our energy services so that the energy is nationalised for a start, get rid of all these different fucking companies, whatever, nationalise the grid again so it's not owned by a consortium from, I don't know, Qatar and fucking China or something, and get in those new pylons, get in the new wind turbines, get in the new solar panels, and make it so less than 1% of our energy mix comes from gas or coal or oil. And then everyone's bills will halve. Everyone's bills. And they will see it. They will see the bills and they'll be like, "Oh, wow, this is half what it was last year." And they can have, make it, because it's nationalised. You can have a little Kia Starmer at the bottom, thumbs up, like this, right? Little Kia Starmer, rabbit in headlights. I did that. Like in London, when they have anything to do with TfL, it says Mayor of London at the bottom. TfL are capping prices at £1.50 for the buses. Mayor of London. TfL are making this new train station. They brought in this new train line that they've spent more money on, the Elizabeth line, than has been spent on public transport in every other city in the country put together. Mayor of London. We've got 2 new stops on the Northern Line. We've got Nine Elms and Battersea Power Station. It's a funny name for a station, Battersea Power Station, but that's the name of the station. Great. Cool. Yes. Cool. Mayor of London. Why don't they fucking do this? Why do they not do this? I don't know. The left need to fucking understand what's going on here, and they need to react appropriately. And, you know, the movement building is so important, and Labour seem to just be resting on their fucking laurels at the moment. And there's so many people that I've spoken to who are very, very active now for the Greens, and they want to help. They want to help out the Greens, you know. And this isn't just a mayoral race. This is a test of whether democracy can break the absolute fucking chokehold of the international billionaire oligarch class who dominate our daily lives like never before. Like, I mean, even in the Industrial Revolution, I don't think they dominated our lives in such a way. If you think about the poor bastards who had to work down the mines or in the mills up here in the north, like you didn't have propaganda every day being spouted by the guy who owned the fucking mill, did you? Did you? I don't know. Or that, you know, you went down the mine and the mine owner was like waiting for you at the bottom of the fucking lift shaft, going, well, you know, today this is what I want you to think about this particular minority. Trans people, eh? Who'll have them? That didn't happen. We are now in this totalitarian system. And I use that phrase not to mean totalitarian in the same context that, you know, you had in the 1930s and 40s in Germany or in Russia at the time. Because we do have, in America, an authoritarian system. It's becoming more authoritarian, which is different from totalitarian. But when I talk about totalitarianism, I'm thinking of it in terms of like a shopping mall, like a shopping center, where everything that you do is monitored. Everything you buy, you need a card to get that test, you know, to get the discount. So they know exactly what's in your weekly shop. So they know exactly where you're going. You're tracked all the time on Google Maps. They know where you are. They know what you're doing. That total, absolutely immersive blending of the private sphere and the public sphere, i.e. other people know what the fuck's going on in your life when they really shouldn't. People posting pictures of their kids online, and people, you know, telling everything that happens in their life online, and people doing live streams like what I'm doing at the moment, and then finding out what all these rich twats think about every fucking subject under the sun. It's total. It's absolute total. And in a way, it's a form of totalitarianism. We live in a society where everyone's got a fucking opinion on Elon fucking Musk. And that's a weird place to be. That is a weird place to be. I don't think we've ever been in the past this, because the internet allows it to come into our homes through our laptops, through our phones, through our tablets, through our computers. There's no escape. There's just no escape. Yeah. That's why digital detox now and again never hurt. John C, thank you very much for the £10 super chat. 1,000 giant poppies on lampposts, major routes in Somerset. Not respectful. Thanks very much for the super chat, John. And yeah, I poppy rage season. I mean, yeah, I think they forgot. Ms. Paula Thomas, £10 super chat, thank you very much. We need to take ownership of the coastal seabed away from the Duchy of Lancaster. At the moment, a small percentage of every electricity bill goes to the Crown. Yeah, absolutely fucking bonkers. Absolutely bonkers, Ms. Paula Thomas. Couldn't agree more. Get control of the energy in this country, halve the bills, and say, we did that. Labour. The government of Labour, or whatever you want to call it. Put it on a piece of paper saying, hey, did you notice that your bill's gone down by half? We did that. If you elect Nigel Farage, he's gonna shut down all these wind farms. He's going to get rid of all these solar farms, and he's going to make us completely reliant on gas from Qatar again. Yeah. Anyway, so we are going to go to the papers just momentarily. We won't be here for very long, I don't think, because it is already 16 minutes past 10 o'clock in the morning. Not my king, screams Mr. Tisk. Fair enough. And then we've got on the Mirror, Heroes of the Train Horror, tributes to Crew, and football fan for tackling the knifeman. And there's the train driver, who's wearing I guess he's ex-forces maybe. And then we've got football fan Stephen Crean, who also tried to do something about it. Police probe incidents before train attack. Absolutely terrifying CCTV footage that's been kind of enhanced, from this guy getting a knife out in a barber shop the day before. Don't scapegoat pensioners with budget tax rises, Reeves warned. Warned by who? Warned by who? There's a sad story here about Amy Dowden, who needs to have a second mastectomy because of either breast cancer or the threat of breast cancer. It's a sad story, but I think it's really necessary that we talk about this stuff and destigmatize this kind of thing, because it is really, really important that... Oh, there's a squeaky tank. Sorry, I didn't mean to make a squeaky tank come on. Sometimes it has a life of its own, that squeaky tank. But yeah, it like Mike Dix will say, it's really important that we talk about this. It's really important that you get yourself checked out. Is there anything wrong with you? Don't go, oh, I'm sure it's nothing. Find out if it's nothing. Okay? Anyway, so police failed to catch rail suspect a day earlier when he got a knife out in a barbershop. Refut councils unveil plans to raise taxes by up to 5%, which we were talking about yesterday. Why was trained suspect free to roam? I don't think he was free to roam. I think that the police don't have the resources to just go, oh, there's this one guy, and we're going to put all the resources in the country out to get this one guy. And by the way, just to allay your fears, and I know I like going on about the fact that the world isn't quite as bad as people like to make out that it is. The knife crimes are down. Knife crimes are down since 2020. They're down. The violent crimes down. The number of people presenting in hospitals because of knife crime is down by over 33% since 2020. Worth noting. Reeves softens us up for tax betrayal. All right. And then we've got I grabbed his knife. This guy who's a train hero. And then we've got the Daily Telegraph here. Reeves prepares to break manifesto pledge with income tax rise. You know what? If Labour are wrong-footing the press here and then turn around at the end of the month when they do the budget and go, actually, we're not raising the income tax, be quite interesting. But I do think they should put a tax on like the very, very wealthy, or leave. And then what you do as well is you put the tax up, but you also say if you leave, you've got to pay 20% of all of your assets before you go. Bye. BBC's Trump bias exposed in Memo Leak. Corporation edited political speech to make it seem like he encouraged Capitol riot, which he totally did. He totally encouraged the Capitol riot. Fuck off, Telegraph. This is the fucking this is the right wing gobshites. The Capitol riot, where his people stormed the Capitol building, caused $3 million worth of damage to the building, led to the deaths of 9 people, over 150 police officers injured, some of them seriously. Police officers had their heads stamped on. Police officers were tasered. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to move on from the fucking Telegraph because it can go fuck itself to death. Reeves bids to win over voters on big tax hikes. Make or break budget looms. Well, if it's big tax hikes on the rich, then, that might work. And then Reeves pays way for tax raising budget with tough choices talk. And then publishing choking porn online to be illegal on the right here of The Guardian. Now, this is also on the BBC website. Good. Absolutely fucking about time. I can't believe this has taken so long. I talked about this before on this show, that particular violent acts in porn is killing women. It's killing women because kids are growing up watching this stuff and they think that's a normal thing to do while you're having sex. And it's not. And including women who are growing up thinking that's a normal thing that happens during sex when it's not. So yeah, if that happens in a sexual act in a porno video, no, that's illegal. That's illegal, and we should fine these porn sites that are showing this stuff. We should definitely fine them. But yeah, I'm glad that is about fucking time, to be honest with you. I'm glad that Labour are finally taking the bull by the horns there, and it will be made illegal in this country. And this isn't me being all puritanical. I have no problem fundamentally with porn. It exists. It's like drugs. It exists. I think it should be legal, but it should be regulated in the same way that I don't think it should be legal for some sketchy bloke on the street to be able to sell you, some heroin that has been lit. cut up with fucking rat poison or something. I don't think that it should be legal for this kind of porn to be distributed and for people to be able to see it and to think that that is a normal way of having sex. Train style subjects could be linked to a string of attacks. And then we've got the Financial Times here, the last sensible newspaper, which I'll just go to in one moment, because one of the things that happens when I'm using tomorrow's papers is that it shows the fucking adverts whenever I change screens. Final push, Mamdani leads New York race. Our time is now. It's a fantastic picture of him going over, I think, the Brooklyn Bridge, that is. Starmer signals tough but fair. Budget will opt for higher taxes over austerity. Number 10 puts MPs on alert for big rises. Pledge to tackle debt without deep cuts. NHS to be shielded. A pledge to tackle debt without deep cuts. So they're going to have to put taxes up. The NHS needs it, you know. She'll make clear what she likes, particularly the NHS, and what she doesn't like, mainly borrowing. You know, if it was up to me, mate, I'd just fucking borrow. Stop this fucking... What is the problem with borrowing? Trump does it all the time. The right do it whenever they're in power. They whinge about it when they're not in power, but they do it all the time. What's the problem with borrowing? What is the problem? Someone explain it to me. You borrow money to buy a house, don't you? It's called a mortgage. As long as you can make the repayments, what's the problem? Let's fucking get this shit done. I know we're paying a shitload in interest, but that's because of the fucking Tories. That's because the Tories making really bad financial decisions because they're Tories, and that's what Tories do. You know, they never had to make a normal financial decision like the rest of us, deciding, you know, whether they can afford to go out or whether they can afford to buy that thing, or, you know, whether they can afford to, you know, get those things for dinner and actually having to budget. They never had to do that. They were born rich. They didn't give a fuck. They would get someone else to do the fucking shopping for them. You know, they never budgeted in their life. They don't need to. They've got an unstoppable fucking flow of money that comes from daddy's investments. Kimberly-Clark's $49 billion swoop for Tylenol maker fuels US surge in deals. Kimberly-Clark, the makers of Hughes and Andrex, have agreed to buy Tylenol owner Kenvue for $48.7 billion, continuing the resurgence of US deal-making in a record year for large takeovers, because Trump likes takeovers because he wants a monopoly. He wants just one company running everything. Omnicorp running absolutely everything, by and large. Graham, you could ask Tory tractor porn MP Neil Parish to survey prawn sites. Very good. Why is there so much emphasis put on the papers? The circulation figures are falling. Very few people buy them now, says David Coombs. Are you asking why I do the paper review? I do the paper reviews to keep an eye on what's going on, because I don't like it when people go, "Oh, you're stuck in a bubble. Look at you in your bubble. You're in a bubble. You are. You're in a bubble." Like I live in a fucking world that doesn't. Elon Musk doesn't exist, or Nigel Farage doesn't exist. I never hear an alternative view on anything. I live in a world where people think the world's fucking flat. They think man didn't land on the moon. They think 9/11 was an inside job. They think that Marilyn Manson shot JFK. I mean, like, these people are fucking insane. They just are. They smoked way too much weed when they were teenagers, and now it's fucked their brain for the rest of their life. And they live in this perpetual state of paranoid fear where they think that there's lizard people out to get them. You know, and I need to hear what they have to say sometimes, you know, whatever. It's not what I agree with. It's not what I want. But I'm just keeping abreast of the situation. There are people out there who deny climate change. They deny climate change. They think it's not real. I mean, fuck. And people go, "Oh, you live in a bubble. You live in a bubble." I'm like, no, I don't. I really don't. There's newspapers. And I disagree with nearly all of them. Except the Guardian occasionally. And the FT usually prints actual news rather than, "Here's what we think of the news. Here's what we think of the news that happened yesterday." Mamdani went to 6 gay clubs on Saturday night. They loved him. Yeah, I bet they did. Well, he's not a bad looking fella. Do you know what I mean? I'd love him to set up in my gay bar. But yeah, so I'm going to head off now. Tory graph, also expensive toilet paper. Yeah. Fucking absolute disgrace. And Pete's Music says, "Banish the royals, give Scotland independence." We won't give you independence, Scotland. You need to take it. Come on, Scotland. Come on, get independence so I can move. It's only an hour up the road from where I live. Come on, Scotland. We can do this. I'll come to Scotland. I'll be your first refugee. I'll be your first European refugee. Get me European fucking passport back. Laters, all the best. Take care and thank you for your company. Oh, thank you, Lost Mission. That's really sweet of you. And Thomas Joseph Larmakey says, thank you very much for the £5 super chat, my friend. Governments create money. Watch Richard Murphy. He does a great series on the subject. We could get everything done. We could care for everyone. Yeah. The problem isn't that there's not enough money in the world. The problem isn't that there's not enough food in the world. It's just that there's some greedy fuckers who want all the money and they want all the food. You know, they can't fucking eat it. They want to buy the food and then throw it away. Anyway, my friends, Romans, people, viewers, subscribers, members, you're all fucking awesome. You are. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all your lovely chat and your super chat. Like I said, I'm going to be back tonight at 7:30 for Geoscope. And then I'll probably start the show tonight, probably around midnight, for the results coming in from New York. Obviously, they're not going to come in for quite a while. It might be like 5 o'clock in the morning before we definitely know that Mamdani has won. But you never know. He might be so far ahead by the time that the polls close that they're like, hey, he's got it in the bag. So we will see. We will see. But if you would like to join me tonight for a little bit of an all-nighter, I don't know if it'll go all night. But yeah, hopefully we'll have a better result than we did around this time last year when me and Mike Dick stayed up all night. And yeah, we ended up abandoning the stream at about 4 a.m. when it became really obvious that Trump was winning. And we were like, fuck this shit. Anyway, thanks for watching. I will see you hopefully at 7:30. If not, tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. Same bat time, same bat channel here on Politics Social. And we'll be doing another morning brew then. So until that moment, I'd just like to say thank you so much for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, give us a like on the way out, and good night.